Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope very well. Still. Um, yeah, so today we're going to do a class. Just as a precursor to the class, um, I'm not going to talk about much of anything when it comes to my ribs, except for if you see me kind of squinting or wincing, is what it's called. Um, it's just because I'm in a little bit of pain, but don't be worried about it or anything like that. It's going away as it goes away. So that's all I'll say. But what I'm thinking, and I do want your opinions again on this, like what kind of classes you'd like to do, and we'll do some. But I already had today planned out because it's something that most of us have talked about and are interested in, and that is cooking. So I'm not doing a full-on cooking class today, as I haven't really been able to go out and shop for anything that I think would be interesting to cook with. So instead, we're going to do a cooking class on some simple cooking tips. And it's a long list. It says it's 101, but they're quick tips. So I don't think it should take up too much time. But maybe we won't get through them all, depending. But maybe just the most salient or important ones. But it's a good idea to first make sure safety, mise en place, which means in en français, French, everything in its place. So make sure you have everything set up that you need. You have your recipe there and all of that. But have everything set up. So if it was like I was making eggs, you want to make sure you have your eggs there. And if you're pan frying, then make sure you have your pan there. Are you going to cook them in butter, olive oil, or whatever kind of oil? There's lots of different oils people use now. And just kind of go from there. So we're going to go over some other tips, some that maybe I've used, and some that maybe I have not. And, so this will be a fun class for all of us because I like it when we can at least learn together. It's a lot more fun when everybody gets something out of the class, even the person preparing it. So, like I said, I looked around at different things, and this one seemed like it was pretty good to go over. So, like I said, here we go. 101 cooking tips. And let's get started on the first one. See what they say. Okay, so the first one is mise en place. So set up your tools or set up your workspace by gathering clean tools, bowls, and utensils, and make sure to keep a trash can within arm's reach. And that's true. Depending on what you're making, you are going to want to just be able to dump things as you dump them. If it's green waste, then, maybe have a separate thing for green waste, so you can put that in the green waste bin. But, a trash can, especially if you're using eggs and you're going to get egg on your hands, unless you're using gloves, but then you're going to have to take the gloves off. So you're going to have to use the trash can no matter what. So that's a good tip. So to create an egg wash on something, whisk together a large egg with 1 tablespoon of water until smooth. And you can use it as a glue to seal pastries, then brush from the top for a glossy appearance. So say you're making like a little pie or something. You have a filling inside, so you've got the dough out, and you'll have 2 different sides of the dough. So my hands are the dough right now. You're going to have a filling right in the middle. It could be anything. If it's ravioli, it could be like an egg with a little bit of, I don't know, truffle or something like that, depending on, I don't know what people like. And then you'll take the other side, and then what you do on this side, once the egg is in there and firm, maybe some cheese, then you're going to take the egg wash and just kind of go around the edge of it. Not on the egg, but just on the edge of the pastry. And then you're going to, with this one, you're going to have already done that. And then you're just going to lay it on top and then just slowly crimp the edges, making sure you don't break the egg yolk. And that way it'll actually hold together as a glue and just kind of stay together. And then once you've done that, you just take like a little brush and you brush the very top and just go and do that on both sides. And then it gives this nice glossy look. So it's, looks a little more professional. And it's an egg and water. And that's it. And it makes a glue. Okay, we're only on number 2. Oh, goodness, we have a lot more to go. Peel tomatoes with ease. Cut an X at the top of a tomato, and then simmer in a pot of hot water for 15 to 30 seconds. Cool down, and the skin will come right off. So if you need to peel a tomato for anything, personally, my mom used to have those in the basement, like jars of them, because we had like a bunch of tomato plants on the side yard. Not a huge fan myself, but sometimes if you want that just to make a basic sauce or something like that, like a marinara sauce or spaghetti sauce, something like that, then that's what you want to do. Next one, get comfortable. Yes, this is important. Wear comfy clothes and an apron when you work in the kitchen and don't have to worry about getting dirty. Yeah, so you don't have to wear it's not like you're going to be on TV, on the Food Network or something like that, where they have to kind of dress for the camera. But they always have an apron on. But, you want to make sure that for you in your kitchen, just, dress in PJs or something that, you're just like, I can just throw in the wash. Don't really mind, and I'm comfy in them. Especially if it's a breakfast thing. And you can always change later. So if you are making dinner for other people, you can go back and have another set of clothes ready to go and then change it up later on. Invest in a baking scale. Scales are not only an accurate way to measure your cooking ingredients, but they also streamline the entire process. So, one sec. Voila. This is a nice little baking scale. So, you got the little on button. You just turn it on. Boom, it'll pop up. Let's see. Yeah, and right now this is set to ounces. So then let's find something to weigh. I've got my handy dandy phone right over here. Just set this down, and I'm going to find out how many ounces my phone weighs. Here we go. So it's set to 0. I don't know. My phone weighs 8.78 ounces. But this is a good thing. I mean, we're not going to cook my phone. Well, at least not yet. Maybe once I'm done with it. But it's just a great way that if they say, hey, this is how much butter you need, or this is how much salt or pepper. Well, salt and pepper, you have the other tools that you use, the measuring spoons and cups and things like that. But for this, if you want to weigh, if you need to weigh out like exact measurements of things, it's a great little thing to have. And they're really not that expensive. I think you can go to any store and just go to the kitchen section and they'll have something like this. So that's a great tip. Always read and reread your recipes before you start cooking. That's part of mise en place as well. Just you want to make sure you have an idea in your head, maybe even have watched a video of somebody else doing it before you've tried it, and then you go ahead and try it out. This next one is big for me. I don't like to make a giant mess. Other people, I'm not going to mention any names that I know, they don't care. They figure they're making the food, I do the dishes, and vice versa. Me, I tend to like to clean as I go. So that way, after you're done with dinner or anything like that, then there's hardly anything but just the dishes that you had, and you don't have a pile full of pots and pans in the sink. You just, once you're done with something, you have something in the oven, you have time to kill. That's when you just kind of clean as you go. But don't lose track of time. That's why another good investment is know how to use your stove's timer. Each stove today has a timer. If not, there's little timers you can find. We have watches, we have our phones. Use that stuff, but that way you can clean as you go, but don't forget about the food because you don't want to burn the food. The next one, use 2 skewers instead of 1 when grilling or roasting to prevent your food from spinning. That has me spinning. I'm not sure what they meant by that, so let's just scratch that one. It didn't really help at all. Learn and practice the rule of thumb to check the readiness of steak. Yeah, you can use different things. Your hand is one way, your cheek's another. I think like here, it's like mid-rare. Here, it's rare. Because you know, like, well, this hasn't been cooked through a lot. And then up here is well done. So be well done where it is very hard. Over here is mid-rare where that's where, you know, so that's just kind of the touch that you want to feel is on the side. And then that's where most people like their steak cooked. Just so you know, if you're just cooking for people and you're not sure, mid-rare. And then right here in the softest part of your cheek, that's rare. So that's the kind of steak I like. So if you're cooking for me, go ahead and just right there. To prevent butter from over browning in your pan, add a bit of lemon juice. That's a good one. Did not know that. I'll use that one. Embrace salt. Don't be afraid to use salt. It pulls out flavors out of your dishes. And cook with kosher salt and season. Oh, I need to do that. Cook with kosher salt and season with sea salt. I always do everything with sea salt, but that's just because I like the crunch and it melts. But I'm going to have to try that and see. And one thing you want to do when you salt, it's good to have like just a little salt container so that you can, it's easier to say this is my hand's container. So you take a pinch of salt and you hold it over your food and you sprinkle it with your fingers like that over whatever you're cooking, kind of high up. And then just make sure you have some like parchment paper or something like that that you can have the meat on or whatever it is you're cooking. And then you're just going to sprinkle that salt from over the top. If you do it right on it, you're going to get clumps of salt in a bunch of different spots. But if you go up high, you can kind of sprinkle a lot more easily and evenly. Sorry. No luck finding shallots. Replace with a combination of onions and garlic. That is true. So some people don't like either of those, so I understand if you're not going to use it. But shallots are actually really good. You probably had them and you didn't know it if you've gone to certain restaurants. After handling garlic, rub your fingers on stainless steel, like your sink, to get rid of the odor. There you go. If you're kind of a vampire, you don't like garlic or the smell of it, and it burns your nostrils and your eyes, that's a good hack right there. That'll get rid of the odor. Let's see. Ovens can lie. This is very true. Place a second thermometer in your oven to ensure proper preheating temperatures. Now, you have to have a certain thermometer that can go in the oven. Don't just buy any thermometer that's plastic, say, and put it in there. It will melt. So, make sure that whatever thermometer you put in there is a safety first, is a safe thermometer. Sorry. And, ribs. But it's a safe thermometer because you don't want anything to melt in the oven. The smell will take forever to get out, and you might just have to replace whatever it got melted on, or really do some cleaning. This is, okay, so another one is ignore cooking times. Check your dishes by using your own senses. Smell, taste, touch, to decide when they are done. And that's the truest thing of all. Taste it, so they say clean as you go. You also need to taste as you go. If you don't like your own food, other people aren't going to like it either. So you want to make sure that you're tasting foods as you actually cook. And just go along and say, no, this tastes good. Don't need that. You can always put saran wrap over it if it's in a bowl or something like that, and just put it to the side and say, that's perfect. That's exactly how I like it. And yeah, and just taste as you go. I mean, it's food. You're supposed to eat it, and it's good to help develop your palate, which, a lot of people say, oh, I hate this food, I don't like that food, and I used to be a lot like that, not very adventurous when it came to food, until you have certain really wonderful people in your life that are like, you know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna make I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna introduce you to some food that maybe you didn't know is exactly what you say you don't like, and then you're like, this is actually pretty good. So let's see. The most versatile and important tool is a sharp chef's knife. It's also important to know how to hold it. Um, you put two fingers down and the other fingers across, and that's, well, please. If you're gonna cook in a kitchen, you're gonna need to be able to use these. Now, you don't ever want to wave them around like that. Knife safety is very important. This stays down until you're using it, then you pick it up. You don't walk around with it. You don't, the minute you're done using it, you set it back down, right by where your food is that you're using it to actually chop with. And we don't wield it like a sword. It's not a plaything. These things are very sharp and will cut you. And sometimes the bleeding takes a long time to stop, and some people have to go to the hospital. So let's make sure that we respect the equipment very much. But the way you're supposed to hold a knife is you get two fingers here and the other fingers there. So your thumb here, your forefinger there, and the other one's laid by the side, and that's how you want to use it. Not like this. That is not the way to do it. Like this. And you just pinch it, hold it, and you want to get used to that. It's kind of like holding a pool cue in that, set it down because it's sharp. I don't want to drop it on my foot or something. But it's like holding a pool cue. You know, everybody holds it a different way, but with knives, that's really the way you want to hold it. And it's a very important tool to have as a chef's knife. You can pretty much do everything with that except for eat. Like, you can find ways to stir with it. There's all sorts of things you can do. Chef's knives are very important, very handy. That's why you always see chefs come with their knife bag and just roll it out and be like, yeah, check it out. Got everything I need. Let's see. Okay, we'll do just a couple more. And then maybe one day, just let me know how you like this class. And I'll see that if I can finish up some more, because we didn't get anywhere near to 101. Learn all the different ways to cook an egg. So yeah, there's soft-boiled, medium-boiled, hard-boiled, fried, poached. There's a tons of ways to cook eggs. Some people hate eggs, but they're really good for you. But it is important to know the readiness of an egg. Like when my mom was here, I made her soft-boiled eggs because she's from England. She liked that, and so that's when you put it in a cup. You cut the top of the egg off after you cooked it for a while, and then you have the yolk nice and runny inside. You can take a piece of bread if you want or toast and dip it in there. Just put salt and pepper over it. Oh, it's really good. Oh, let's skip. And here, okay, here is a good tip. So we'll end on eggs. But crack eggs on a paper towel on the counter. So it's good. They only list two reasons why it's good. They say no shells, easy cleanup, and that's true. That way, you're not getting shells because a lot of people crack right on the side of the pan, which I'll admit I still do. But you crack it on the side of the pan. What'll happen is sometimes little bits of shell gets in there, gets on the stove. It's messy. But then, what's the other thing about eggs? Can anybody tell me? What is in there? Well, I'll just have to give you the answer. But it's salmonella, which is not good for you. It can make you sick. And leaving little bits of that around, even on dishes, you go to do the dishes, you have some on your hands, things like that. It's actually not. It can, like I said, it can make you sick. It's kind of a safety hazard, and it's something that I learned actually where we work in that. I say it's been something that people don't talk about a bunch. Is this you're just leaving salmonella like all over the place if you just willy-nilly crack eggs and are yeah. You really want to do it in a safe environment, but this is a good way too. You just crack it on that shell. All of that albumin that's going to escape is going to hit there on the paper towel. Then you can bust it open, put it in the pan, in the water, whatever you need to do, and that's your nice hack. Or tip, because these are not hacks. I guess I'm hacking somebody by not using the word tips, but now I'm hacking their use of the word tips. So I'm tip hacking, and that's probably what I'll title this class, tip hacking. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and don't run with knives. That's what I'll leave on. Anyway, bye everybody.